And a quite worrisome figure. In Africa, civilians are still in possession of 40 million small and light firearms, and only a small percentage is the subject of a permit to carry a gun. Uganda is currently on a 2-month amnesty for the voluntary return on condition of anonymity and immunity of these illegally held weapons. The country, which has recently faced a terrorist attack, has destroyed nearly 141,000 pieces of weaponry since 2006. And we remain in the eastern part of the continent, where Tanzania has decided to fight against crime, armed robberies and violence between rival gangs, a daily violence that the economic turmoil tends to exacerbate. We had been to Dar es Salaam to see how the authorities and civil society organizations had managed to collaborate to take matters into their own hands. Let's find out.
A police officer and a bank official were shot dead by armed bank robbers in a shootout with police in Dar es Salaam, capital of Tanzania. It could be any city in the world, but it's still 2 more deaths because of illicit guns. Illicit guns kill about 500,000 people worldwide every year. These weapons are cheap, portable and readily available.
This one is a military weapon, highly dangerous to the public. It can carry 30 rounds of ammunition. It fires more or less the same like AK-47, it's got the same capabilities. It's a Makarov pistol. It's a Chinese made. There are plenty in our country.
Tanzania has had a relatively peaceful history through colonial times and into the era of independence. Today, the rate of violent crime and exposure to armed conflict is low by comparison with other East African countries. Yet recent official surveys suggested there were about 700,000 guns held by the civilian population. In some regions, it was reckoned that 24% of households held at least one firearm, particularly in border regions. Tanzania neighbours countries like Rwanda, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo and other countries with a troubled history.
Tanzania is not lucky enough to be an island. She's got 9 neighbours. Of the 9 neighbours, 8 of them are or were in conflict at one point in time. Some of them still are today.
Tanzania is a peaceful country. We had to agree receiving refugees, and these refugees came with firearms, and some did not declare them.
Tanzanians also have a cultural attachment to guns. Handcrafted, muzzle-loading guns have been used for ceremonial occasions since the 19th century here. Now, criminals are turning to local artisan gunsmiths for cheap and deadly weapons.
This is a modified shotgun, locally modified, and has the capability of firing ammunition of a modern shotgun.
For the last 50 years, the Great Lakes region of Africa has been at the centre of the proliferation of illegal guns. Illegal guns have fueled criminality and political instability and have crippled economic development here for decades. Peace and security is a precondition of development and growth.
Once there is insecurity, there's a lack of production, there's a lack of movement of people, there's a lack of movement of goods, and there's a general sort of deterioration of the economic well-being of that community.
On behalf of the Tanzania Police Force...
In the year 2000, the countries of the Horn of Africa and Great Lakes regions signed a declaration in Nairobi to tackle the problem of small arms. While the ambition is to eliminate and destroy illegal weapons, the proper registration and licensing system will allow for legal gun ownership. A feeling of insecurity is common in many rural areas, and farmers want a gun to protect themselves and their property.
He has been with his shotgun since 1975.
I want my gun to take care of my herd of cattle and to protect them from thieves. I need it to take care of my other property on the farm. We live here with many problems. There are monkeys, wild pigs, lions that might attack my cattle in the corral, and hyenas.
It is a common misconception internationally that you measure success by the number of firearms you have destroyed. So really, destroying or counting just numbers is not a game. What is important here is what have you done to stop the dysfunctions and prevent the dysfunctions from happening again.
The arms management and disarmament plan in Tanzania has had significant success across the country. It's the first comprehensive national approach anywhere in the world and is being offered as an example for the region.
The civil society and law enforcement agencies are working together. Before it was not like that. The law enforcement agencies by themselves, they were not cooperating. Customs and police were different things. The police and the army were quarreling. Now it is together, they're working together. So it took us years, but we have managed. We have established that sort of cooperation.
In the region, the countries of the Great Lakes will have to address the proliferation and trafficking in small arms within their borders. And here's where the international community shares responsibility for making that happen.